Hi guys, I'm back. I've been gone for a little bit, but please forgive me because sometimes these videos take some time to make, and I do graphic designing, so in my real life I am stretched thin in certain areas. But of course, the support that you guys keep giving me tends to bring me back to the channel. Now update. Since I've been gone, I've gotten a mic and I did a short ASMR video unboxing for you guys to experience. Hopefully now my audio quality is much better. Now let's jump straight into the video. Arlecchino. Who is she? Well, first off, she's a 5-star pyro user who yields a pole arm and goes by the codename the Knave, or how the rest of the Genshin players like to call her, Daddy. She's in the 4.6 version and she is the 4th of the 11 Harbingers, which if you didn't know, the Harbingers are ranked by strength, so I mean guys, she's kind of a big deal. She's also a multitasker. With the whole trying to steal the Gnosis and whatever else evil the Fatui is up to, she's running an orphanage. A whole orphanage in Fontaine. She's the current director of the House of Hearths, where she is addressed as father by the members of the house, whom she calls her children. Now, this is where the confusion came in, because Fatui/Harbinger equals bad, except for child, we'll make an exception. But orphanage to help children equals good. So, is she evil or is she good? To determine this information, we are going to look back into her past, the orphanage, her present, her quest, rumors, what others has to say about her, and what she has to say about herself. But lastly, a bonus would be that we will be showcasing her gameplay. Now warning, I'm not sure if I missed something or I'm too far behind in the game, but when Fontaine came into the mix, I've seen a lot more sad stories added, so her situation is probably going to be the same. Now let's speak of her past along with the past of the orphanage. Before the Teritsa recruited Arlecchino, her name was Peraware. She was an orphan raised in the House of Hearts along with some other children in Fontaine. Orphans raised in the House of the Hearts are gathered from all over the continent. A pretty lady named Kusabina was the previous Knave, and she oversaw the house where the children called her mother. She set up some demented rule for the kids to grow and get strong so they can compete to defeat their brothers and sisters in battle. So one can hold the title of king. I'm assuming this means that they can take over her role. I guess with her type of beauty, we should have expected some level of crazy. Hair wear is said to have some kind of curse. Perhaps that explains her appearance with those red X in her eyes, pale skin, and white hair. She normally seemed like she was quiet by herself, doing her own little subtle things, like burying her spider while Mother is reminding the others of their goal. Now Mother had encouraged a girl named Clairvy to check out if everything was cool with Peraware. Now this girl looks familiar to her mother, so I'm assuming naturally that that's her real mother. But even with her, Mother was not gentle. Clairvy was bubbly and cheerful, a bit more reckless, the opposite of our stern, calm, quiet Peraware. But despite their differences in personality, they seem to have bonded quickly, to where Peraware developed a soft spot for her and cared for her deeply. So deeply that they even made plans together for when they got older to visit Snajnida. So clearly neither one of them were thinking of separating. These were probably even the first set of plans someone ever made with Peraware to stick by her side, so of course that would make an impact on anyone who's used to people leaving them. Now one day, things went downhill quick. Clairvy was shown to be killed by Peraware, and it was just them two left for the title of king. So naturally, based on the impact this girl has on Peraware, I'm assuming she didn't kill her by her own will, and perhaps Clairvy forced Peraware sword into her because she didn't want to be king, and she wanted Peraware to live, while perhaps in that moment she thought death was her only escape from the orphanage. I speculate this only because when Clairvy died, Peraware tripped out like fully. So why would someone who killed someone else at their own will, who we love dearly, for just a title of king, trip out to go kill Mother? when we didn't have to kill Mother. She asked for us to be guided by her. So she also indicated that Clervy is our weakness, and we can't have any weaknesses or anything to tie us down if we're to be king. Now, if Clervy didn't actually sacrifice herself and we killed her out of our own will, and we headed off to kill Mother as well, then I mean, clearly looking a bit deranged here for power. But eventually we got rid of Mother and declined her offer of the title to follow her. It wasn't our vibe. After all that trauma we went through, losing the only person we cared for. Now apparently killing Mother is a crime to the Turiza because Mother was a Harbinger, so we had to pay for our crime. We got pardoned by her and given a new name called the Knave, making us the next Harbinger in space of Mother, and later down the line we even took up the orphanage and we went by the name Father, which brings us into the new orphanage under Father's control. So the house is still located in Fontaine, and orphans raised in the House of the Heart are taken in from all over the continent still. There's been a twist on things though. The place now looks bigger, brighter, and the goal of raising the next king through eliminating your brothers and sisters doesn't seem to be in place anymore. So with that, we can at least say Knave is scoring some points on the good side. Orphans within the house are often raised directly into the Futui ranks or remain closely affiliated with the organization by way of their relation to Arlecchino. So now everyone within the house has a future that involves them staying alive and being a part of a solid team. At least we're not passing on generational trauma, because God knows parents like to do that. While Father is much less strict compared to Mother, the one vital rule she enforced is loyalty. Because don't get Father wrong, she's still got a cold, serious side, so betrayal is punishable by death. However, she could amend the rule and could spare you with potions containing her flames, which would only be given to those who had the strength or will to fight, and when consumed would erase their memories regarding the house, which would be seen as killing them in her eye. Also, this scores her another good point because technically we are sparing a betrayer's life. I don't know how that would not convey as a good deed, especially since she has the option to just off them. The Knave seems to care about her children and is more nurturing to them compared to Mother. It does not seem that the children are afraid of her or cannot confide in her if something went wrong. Father would be shown to finish off missions for her child if they couldn't complete it, even if that means using brute force, and is even shown by their side. You would hear the impact that this has on her. Even though it is subtle, she would say to them, "Rest in peace, my child." This is far more than what Mother did, who simply laughed and down-talked her own daughter dying, not even caring where the body was left to rot. Now we're going to evaluate her quest, because I saw a snippet where they are putting little old me to fight her, and I can reassure you I'm not built that way. So we're going to have to see why she's picking on the Traveler, because that girl was in the sky. That girl looked like she went beast mode on me. An innocent man just walking around trying to make the world a better place. That's looking sus right now. That's looking like it deserves an evil point. But she's been mentioned in Genshin before this quest, so we are going to take a look at that first. The Knave gets introduced to the Traveler when she was having tea with Furina. She straight up tells us she's a Harbinger, and she also tells us that she owns the orphanage. We quickly notice that Furina is on edge. She seems afraid of the Knave, and the Knave seems to be aware of this as well. Furina always invites a third person for when the Knave is around, which she mainly comes around if it involves the orphanage. This whole tea party turned into an interrogation for Furina to explain how she plans to save Fontaine, and it quickly escalates because the Knave doesn't seem to like anyone slacking off. Furina is acting as the Hydro Archon, the god ruling over Fontaine. Because of the Futui's objective of stealing all the Gnosis and burning away the old world, the two are automatically pitted against each other. Naturally, the Knave tried to eliminate Furina for the Gnosis, and this seems to have traumatized Furina, and she was only spared because she didn't have the Gnosis. But Knave is fully aware of how badly this incident affected Furina, and she does not care. So obviously, that's one bad point, because Fatui equals bad. I probably should add another one, because Furina doesn't need that type of hate. She's been through enough, but I can't be biased. Perhaps the Knave doesn't know of Furina's past, or simply she doesn't care. It's not her business to. Now, with the new request, we're in Poisson, and the whole House of Hearts are here as well because their headquarters is currently haunted by a phantom child. Naturally, I too would leave my whole house if a ghost was involved. We use this moment to see what the house does on a day-to-day, and they seem to be well-mannered and good at heart, helping people in Poisson. So Father has raised them with a heart and is well-educated in what each child's weakness and strength lies. But don't get me wrong, these kids still know how to defend themselves and obviously be hitmen if a lesson needs to be learned. Sadly, one of the members is hiding the ghost, and we discover she's Clairvy, Father's childhood friend. She seems to be still looking out for the kids in the house, so she isn't scary. The act of hiding her may somewhat be betrayal to Father. Now, Clairvy's soul seems to be trapped, traumatized if you may. She's not really seeing that she's already free since she's passed on. She seems to still have the thought of no one gets out of the house alive. She also is looking for Periware and hiding from Mother, waiting to see her friend, and even remembers the promise they made together to see the lights in Schneider. Now, during this session, we see Knave and Child trash talking the other Fatui members as if they hold no fondness towards them, and they are simply doing their jobs as instructed. We also seem to hear that rumors are going around that the Knave betrayed the House of the Hearts once. She might do it again. Here these rumors are spilling out of her past, tainting her image, showcasing to us that perhaps she has been harming these good kids. But these matters of clearing her name doesn't bother her. She's a woman who knows her truth and doesn't need to prove it to anyone who doubts her. She is also aware that her children are up to something and says she can be patient with her kids, so she won't interfere for now, which is a nice way to let us know once again her heart lies with these kids. But she still tries to tell us that feelings are not involved where the kids are concerned, and their actions will be punished if they are caught, which is a result in death. As a follow-up, she shares with us a loophole and how the kids can get away with their wrongdoings, which would result in a case that she can't prove, so they won't be punished. So we're giving that a good point, because I mean, clearly she's out here caring. Now let's be honest, all the kids are going to this orphanage has an end goal to be a part of the Fatui. That doesn't come with other people being easy on you, based on the repetition the Fatui already has. These kids don't fit in well, and even have desires to not be a part of the house. They just want to live regular, normal life. Eventually, with the kids hiding Clairvy from Knave, it's been discovered that a group of kids has been scheming against the house and Father due to wanting their own lives, and Clairvy's rumors of the old Knave, since she doesn't know that she's dead as yet. The Knave is very aware of this already, and since this is against the house rules, the Knave says that they must be punished, which in return means death. The Knave informs us that where she differs from Mother is in the formulation of the house rules and not by enforcing them. Lynette, Lenny, Remame, and even the Traveler stood up to the Knave and asked for the house members to be spared. The Knave inquired Adu if they won against her, then she will spare them. Now, this right here is where I got thrown into the mix. The amount of fear I had and the amount of running away I had to do was just not it. Like, I thought Raiden was crazy, but this lady is crazier. There's no way I had the strength to do this, and on top of that, those kids were supposed to be helping me, but I literally was pulling the whole battle, and they only came in to like a cutscene. I thought it was gonna be 4-on-1. I thought I was gonna get some help. I even got to see a portion of how her curse works with the crescent moon, but luckily she held back because I'm a guest, and when guests are there, the house dispute tends to be less dramatic, and I also was almost demolished, so it wouldn't be nice to kill a guest, or we'd have no stories left. Once again, Mihoyo has put me in a life and death situation and spared me. I must say how the Traveler isn't traumatized after all these near-death experiences has me baffled, but I guess we should all aspire to be as unfazed as them if we want to get through real life. Back to the Knave. She decides to give the children her flames in a bottle instead to drink, so they will lose their memories and live a normal life, and they would be considered dead because the current self they are will be unknown. They'll start life fresh. Now, she seems to have done this many times before, because we even passed a person from the house who we saw photos of who's supposed to be considered done for, you catch catch me, handing out some papers in Fontaine. Now she chose to give these kids the flame option because they chose to fight her and they showed strength rather than whimper away. She admires that. She even says she gives her children the freedom to choose their own fate, something the house that she was raised in didn't give them. She spoke to Neuvillette about the situation already, asking him to keep the kids who chose to not be in the house anymore without any judgment from other people because their memories would be wiped. With this, she also proceeds to tell Lenny she wants him to take the place as king of the house and that she believes in him to do so if he accepts. Also mentions that even though she helped them off the streets, it doesn't mean that they owe her anything, which is very, very good, especially since she's showing selflessness for her kids. She expects no reward in return. Lenny noticed that father even held back in the match, and perhaps this whole thing was her plan from the beginning. She never had any intentions to kill the kids in the first place because she knew the others would step in to stop her, but she still had to make an example of if the rules got broken, what happens, because without it the house won't have order. Now the Knave is also a very smart woman, so we can't really say for sure if her planning this whole thing was just a tester of the kids' strength in the house, or if it was just a show that she put on to give us a certain impression of her. But she then turns her attention to Clarivy. Clarivy and Perware finally speaks, and she confirms her speculations were right about Clarivy wanting to escape through death, so she threw the match. The Knave expels her from the school, and she's set free to go towards the sunlight, showing she has been released from the darkness she dwelled in. The Knave seemed to enjoy speaking to her, but wanted to say more before she left, which you can hear in her voice. She's a bit sad. From there, the quest ends, and we go straight into what others have to say about her. So you can use this to evaluate for yourself.
She's a formidable but caring leader, and definitely comes across like a master of the house. But she's still a Fatui Harbinger, and that means she must have a more ruthless side. So don't worry, while I'll always appreciate what she did for Poisson, I'm not about to let my guard down around her completely. The Knave? Who's that?
Died already. Forgotten about her. Keeping such a terrible figure like her in your mind will only give you nightmares.
Look, I've got nothing against people who have their own agendas. I myself joined the Fatui to get more experience in combat. But I don't like her at all. If she stood to benefit from betraying others, she'd turn against the Tsaritsa in a heartbeat. There isn't a sane bone in her body.
A wolf in sheep's clothing. To exert a higher level of control over people, she puts on a graceful and cordial front. Most of those who have seen her true crazy self have gone poof.
Father gave us a family, raised us, and told each of us what we should work towards. In turn, what I can do is very simple. Remain loyal and protect our home. Ours is a kingdom consisting only of children, and Father is our king. No king rules forever, of course, and I know that one day I will be chosen as Father's successor. But that also terrifies me. Please don't mention this to anyone, especially my sister and Fremine.
Staying silent is beneficial for maintaining focus and gathering intelligence. Once, a VIP audience member at our show took out a handkerchief that didn't belong to his wife. As for how such information is used, now, that depends on what Father wants. Oh. How Father expresses love, well, not everyone can accept it. But it is only because of Father that home can be called home.
Father doesn't like it when children cry. Father says tears are the product of emotion and weakness. So when Father scolds me, I hold it in until I'm underwater, where no one can hear me cry. At least I have the Romaritime flowers to keep me company. When I was little, I was taught that we should be ready to give our lives for our family. But when Father took control, this philosophy changed. Father said that every one of us is important, and we have to value our own lives, be our strongest selves, and stand on our own 2 feet in this world. But actually, all of that's much harder than just following orders. I don't like thinking about my time in the House of the Hearth under the previous director. All I'll say is, my habit of retreating into the sea started back then. Father changed not only me, but my view of our family too. Then Linny and Lynette joined the family. And for the first time ever, I gained some genuine companions. I once swore an oath that I would do whatever it takes to protect this family, and never look back. Now, I stay true to this oath not because it's the previous director's orders, or because it's what Father expects of me, but because it's my own desire. Please keep our family secret safe, so that I can keep my promise.
Now we're going to go into what she has to say about herself.
Our ideals are not entirely aligned. If we are to work together, we must be willing to compromise. To that end, I'm willing to share certain secrets with you. Information that I choose not to reveal, however, is best left unexplored. For your own good, of course. You wish to know more about me? Why, of course. Our relationship is one of mutual trust. There's little need to keep things hidden. I would only inquire as to whether you're truly prepared for what you might learn. Secrets can be sharper than a knife. Innocent curiosity can lead to dangerous places. For the longest time, there wasn't anything I desired, until the idea came to me to assassinate Crucibina. It was a ludicrous thought then. She was a Harbinger, famed and experienced, and nearly everything I knew about fighting was taught by her hand. However, it appears you need only desire something with sufficient intensity and the gods will answer. In the end, I gained a vision, and after making certain sacrifices, I mastered this power. Surpassing one's teacher often requires the pursuit of the unexpected. Flames course through my body like blood. This may be nothing but a figure of speech to some, but for me, it's the harsh reality of my existence. Fate can be a peculiar thing. When I was young, Mother favored me due to the unusual set of abilities I possess. No one was able to discern their true nature, not even me. We would only speculate that they were the result of some sort of hereditary curse, whatever the origin of my power. All I knew was that it was the source of my strength, and often the impetus for my suffering. It was only after I became a Harbinger that I finally learned the truth from the Jester. He expressed surprise that the Crimson Moon bloodline had not gone extinct, and that, in a strange twist of fate, the House of the Hearth had ended up in the hands of an orphan of that lineage once again. I cannot say what the future holds. I trust fate will give me an answer in time, and when it does, I'm prepared to do things my way, even if that means striking down fate with my own two hands. My Snezheviches and Snezhevnas, those with the courage to walk through shadow, even when the world gets dark, and the conviction to embrace the heat, even at the risk of getting burned. I will do my utmost to teach them how to navigate life. The House of the Hearth begs favors from no one. Like a spider, we hunt for what we want. No one has the power to choose where they come from, but we all have the right to fight for the life we want. In this sense, the world is both unfair and just in equal measure. I don't take in children out of a desire for recompense. In fact, should they so wish, the children are free to leave and pursue a life outside my organization, so long as they're willing to pay the price.
We're also going to mention the rumors of her that are floating around. Now, there are a couple of rumors floating around about her, and some of them require you to go in depth, so maybe I'll make another video to speak on them, but for now, I'll stick to telling you them in a short form. I don't want to go into it too much on these in case we lose track of our main goal, which is to find out if she is good or not, because these rumors are not confirmed or denied, as we can't weigh them. Rumor 1. The House of the Heart was formed in Conria during the Crimson Moon Moon's dynasty, with the purpose of taking in and raising a descender who is from another world that slips into their world, and this descender could transcend the god. In latter days, the orphans of the kingdom also joined the orphanage. Arlecchino is said to be a descendant of the Crimson Moon bloodline, which is the source of the Pale Moon blood fire running through her veins, and once again, the House of the Hearts has landed into the hands of someone from the Crimson Moon lineage, even though Conria has been gone. Rumor 2. Naturally, she is a royal descendant from Conria based on Rumor 1. Rumor 3. The Crimson Moon has a reputation of showing up when destruction or a fall of a nation is happening. Rumor 4. Arlecchino means a clown, a fool, a trickster. The Knave means deceitful fellow, a dishonest man, and periware means to burn. I'm just gonna add a point for this one because these are literally the names' meaning. Now, Rumor 5. This is a random crazy speculation of my own, but during the Crimson Moon dynasty days, they were messing around with alchemy, and we already have someone in the game made from alchemy. That's Albedo. These individuals are created with a purpose in hopes they can achieve perfect form to be a descendant, and if you ever saw the witch and the knave, they have flames similarities. The butterfly, the liquid fire through their veins along with their boss form, and much more, which shows that the knave fire isn't completely unique when you minus the moon part. So this goes two ways. One, that the witch and the knave, both who are in the Fatui, have access to a certain technique that dates back to the Crimson Moon time, or these two were created like how Albedo was created. Again, though this is just a far stretch, but I just find it a bit suspicious that two evil men on the same team have their flames set up almost the same way. Moving on. Lastly, I want to showcase her playstyle so you understand the monster that she is that I had to be the hero and fight. She has a normal attack that deals physical damage as she strikes me 6 times. And if you haven't noticed, that's a big pole arm. If you have her and hold down the attack button, then she'll dash at us to deliver a single slash. If you keep holding down that button, she's literally going to fly. With her elemental skill, she calls blood fire at us, which deals pyro damage. Also, if that wasn't enough because we're bloodthirsty, she'll charge at us to deliver a slash, then deal pyro damage. If you were hit by her elemental skill, you get an X mark the spot kind of deal. You're gonna get hit for 2 rounds with pyro damage. I'm going to let this guy explain the bond of life.
Each directive absorbed grants her a bond of life, worth a percentage of her max HP. There is a limit to the total bond of life that can be gained in this way. If her elemental skill is used again within a certain time, the directive's duration is recalculated, as is the maximum bond of life that they can confer. When her bond of life is greater than or equal to a certain percentage of her HP, she enters the mask of the Red Death state, converting her normal, charged, and plunging attack damage into pyro damage that cannot be overridden. While in this state, when Arlecchino's normal attack hits an enemy, the damage dealt is increased by an amount based on her attack and her current bond of life percentage. A portion of her bond of life is then consumed.
Now her elemental burst releases these det X's on everyone dealing pyro damage, giving us back our elemental skill and heals us based on the attack on our bond life value. I mean, clearly this wasn't a fair opponent for me. Leaving my struggle behind though, let's tally up the scores. Is she bad or is she good? Based on the scores so far, she seems to be more good than bad. Hopefully that whole thing isn't a trick, but everything she's shown us about herself, personality, her genuine care for her children and anyone close to her, or who she feels deserve respect, I highly doubt any of that was a lie. She doesn't seem to be our villain in the stories yet, and the rumors that follow her, which she doesn't clear up, are mainly from outsiders speaking of her past. She has shown us behind those X eyes and cold features, she has some warmth lingering around within her, and I don't mean the actual fire within her veins. Plus, so far, she has been very open with the traveler and handles us more differently than she does someone like Furina, even making legal and ethical deals with Neuvillette. I mean, she even got the whole gnosis from him without attempting a fight. If she's supposed to be bad in some way, that would probably be further down the Genshin storyline, where her loyalty and service lies in following and carrying out the Teritsa's plans. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And please do like and subscribe to me if you want more videos. Also, I've attached some hair at the end if you'd like to see other healers in Genshin or how to get pyros. Bye!